When it comes to three-row family crossovers, buyers have typically gravitated toward the Highlander if you wanted to stay within the Toyota portfolio. However, when the current generation debuted about 3 years ago, it had an interior that was deemed a little too small for larger American families, which is why I'm standing by this important new addition to the lineup for 2024. This is the all-new Toyota Grand Highlander, a longer version of Toyota's very popular midsize SUV. It offers seating for up to 8 people, including an adult-friendly spacious third row, and it's available with 3 different powertrains, including 2 electrified models, with the first ever hybrid max powertrain offered on the Highlander. So today we're actually out here in Chicago on the eve of the 2023 Chicago Auto Show, and now we finally have this new SUV in the sheet metal. Let's go ahead and finally take a first look. So the current generation Highlander is one of Toyota's best-selling models. The company did almost 250,000 sales last year in the US alone. So obviously this is a new addition to the family. This is not replacing the current Highlander. The company says they're going to offer both models. The Grand Highlander is the bigger option that's going to be offering more space for families out there. But before we start talking about the guts and the specs and the interior, let me go ahead and show you guys the exterior styling, because we've known about this car for a while. So now that I'm finally seeing it here in the sheet metal, this particular one that I'm showing you is the Platinum trim. It's the top of the line. It's also the hybrid max powertrain. You can see the front fascia has a kind of a different design language versus the current Highlander, which I suspect Toyota will refresh the base or the standard wheelbase model to have this front end. You can see the headlights have like a skinnier look to them, where you have this LED daytime running light, you have LED low and high beams. Toyota says that higher trims will get these LED fog lights, and then the higher trims will also have a slightly more upscale looking LED accent to the headlights. This hybrid max also has a unique gunmetal gray finish to the grille. Toyota calls this kind of like a hammerhead shark inspired front fascia with the grille, along with this kind of silver painted front lower lip to the spoiler. Overall, I think the design definitely looks a little bit more aggressive and sophisticated and modern versus the current Highlander. I felt that vehicle just was a little too curvaceous for my personal taste. You can see this vehicle here has a slightly more boxy, more masculine look to them. Now this vehicle is built on the same platform as the regular Highlander, which is the Toyota TNGA-K architecture. Toyota uses this platform for practically almost every vehicle they build. However, this model here, which it's kind of hard to tell actually, Toyota's done a good job of kind of making this car look smaller, at least in photos and videos and in person. However, they have stretched this car considerably. The wheelbase, Toyota says, is around 4 inches longer than the regular Highlander, which would put it at around 116 inch in the wheelbase. Its overall length is about 6 inches longer, so that would make this car a little over 201 inches long. That actually puts it on the larger end of the midsize SUV scale. This would make it bigger versus vehicles like the new Honda Pilot, the Kia Telluride, the Hyundai Palisade, the Volkswagen Atlas. This is approaching the same size as something like the Chevrolet Traverse. So that's going to give us all that interior space on the inside, which I'll show you later on. Now this hybrid max model that I'm showing you also has this unique finish to the 20-inch wheels. Toyota is going to offer a choice between 18-inch wheels on the XLE. The Limited and Platinums will have a 20-inch wheel. This is kind of a unique gunmetal gray finish on the 20-inch wheel. There's also a gas model here, which I'll show you has a chrome finish wheel. You can see this is riding on a 255/55 R20 tire. The wheels themselves, they have multiple spokes, but I think it looks good. It kind of goes well with the body lines of the proportions of this vehicle. I don't know the ground clearance specs for this car just yet. But you can see it has a much boxier shape versus the current Highlander, which I like. In fact, to me, this design kind of reminds me a little bit of like a supersized RAV4 because of that boxiness, kind of like similar to what the 4Runner kind of has, the current generation. Now you can see you have these silver accented roof rails. A panoramic roof is going to be included if you guys go for the Platinum trims and up, which is standard. I suspect it could be an option on the other trims. And then you can see in this area here, the larger rear glass. This is again kind of showing you from the outside that this has an adult-friendly third row, which I haven't had a chance to sit back there just yet. Now coming over here to the rear of the vehicle, you can see the taillight is certainly unique. You can see it kind of jets out pretty far onto the rear quarter panel. But then when you look back here, it literally looks like the current generation RAV4, of course, with taillights that are slightly modified, but they are a full LED design. You can see it spells out Grand Highlander at the back pretty boldly, and then you also have the Hybrid Max badge right here. Now this is also Toyota's new Beyond Zero badge. This is going to be the second vehicle after the Toyota Prius to get that Beyond Zero badge. This is going to be included on the hybrid versions. If you guys want this platinum grade, it's going to only be available in gas or the Hybrid Max. So kind of keep that in mind if you guys want the traditional hybrid, which is only available on the XLE and the Limited. The Hybrid Max Platinum Platinum also includes those dual outlet exhausts. That's how you're going to be able to tell this is a Platinum grade, which, as you probably noticed, there's no Platinum badges on this car. I kind of like how Toyota did that because they're trying to keep the back a little bit more minimalistic and clean. Now, looking at the cargo area, I don't have figures just yet, at least final figures. However, because this vehicle is significantly longer, 6 inches longer, the space back here is definitely more than what you're going to get in the standard Highlander. That model has around 16 cubic feet. I would suspect this is a little over 20 cubic feet, which would put it at the top of the class. Toyota says that you can actually fit up to 7 carry-on suitcases back here with the third row seat up. So 7 back here, stacking them, putting them upright is definitely among the best in the segment. And the other great thing about this is you can also fold down these seats, which right now I can't seem to figure out how to fold them down. But Toyota says that if you fold down every seat, you actually get 98 cubic feet of space. Now, 98 is the only figure they were able to give us for now. If you're keeping score, however, the base or the regular Highlander has around 84 total cubic feet with all the seats down. So this model here has roughly 14 more cubic feet when you're looking for maximum cargo. So under the hood of the all-new 2024 Toyota Grand Highlander, you're actually going to find a choice of 3 different powertrains, 2 of which are electrified. Let me start, of course, with the base engine. This is the company's all-new 2.4-liter gasoline direct injection turbocharged 4-cylinder. Remember, this replaces the 3.5-liter naturally aspirated V6 that we found in the current generation Highlander, which the company just put in the 2023 model. This is now the base engine. Now, Toyota doesn't have any power output figures just yet, but in the regular Highlander, this makes around 265 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque going through an 8-speed automatic transmission. I suspect it's going to be identical in this car, but there could be a variation depending on the tuning differences. For those of you who require better efficiency, Toyota will also offer a hybrid version. That's going to combine the 2.5-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder that runs on the Atkinson cycle. It's part of their dynamic force engine family with 3 electric motors. It's going to offer 2 electric motors in the front and a separate one in the rear when you guys go for the all-wheel drive option. Now again, Toyota didn't provide power figures just yet for that version, but it is going to be the efficiency leader, with the company claiming it'll get up to 34 mpg combined, which is only about 1 mpg less versus the standard short wheelbase Highlander. That transmission or that engine will use a CVT, while this uses an 8-speed auto. However, for those of you who require more performance, let's go ahead and show you guys the new top dog of the engine family. So in addition to the gas and hybrid only powertrains, Toyota is also offering their Hybrid Max option if you guys go for the higher trims. It's available on the Limited and the Platinum grade. And this is essentially the same powertrain that we've seen in the Toyota Crown and, of course, the Lexus RX 500h F-Sport Performance. This pairs a 2.4-liter direct injection 4-cylinder with a turbocharger attached to it. It runs on the Atkinson cycle, and it also has up to 2 electric motors, which Toyota says combined output is around 362 horsepower for this car and 400 pound-feet of torque. That output actually makes it the most powerful production midsize SUV that Toyota has ever offered. So they're promising pretty impressive performance. This is going to go out through a 6-speed automatic transmission. That's the same one that they also use in the Crown and, of course, the Lexus RX. And they haven't claimed any fuel economy figures yet. However, they did say that this model should be able to accelerate from 0 to 60 in 6.3 seconds. So that's right. We live in a world where you can get a 3-row, 8-passenger family SUV that offers like 360 plus horsepower that can sprint to 60 in the low 6-second range. Now, obviously, I don't have any figures yet for towing or curb weight, but we should be driving this vehicle sometime in May, and we'll be able to share all those detailed specs for you at a later date. So let's go ahead and finally talk about the interior of the all-new 2024 Grand Highlander. Now, this is essentially going to be the highest trim that I'm sitting in. This is the Platinum grade in this new interior color called Portobello. So it's like this really interesting brown color, which again kind of reminds me of a portobello mushroom in terms of the color. As I get in and shut the door has a nice solid sounding thunk, and you can see here this interior of this this Platinum grade certainly looks the part in terms of luxury, in terms of build quality. Now, I do want to point out that this is a very, very early pre-production prototype model, so there's some pieces in here that you might see may not make it to the final production spec car, but overall you can see this is very familiar territory if you guys have spent some time in the latest crop of Toyota products. All versions of the Grand Highlander will have a 12.3-inch digital touchscreen here. This is running the latest version of the Toyota Audio Multimedia interface. And then if you guys go for the limited trims and up, you'll get a fully digital 12.3-inch display, which is also customizable. I just tested this out in the new Toyota Venza, which you can also find it in the Toyota RAV4 and the Highlander. You can kind of customize that display. If you guys go for a base XLE trim, you'll have 2 analog gauges with a 7-inch display, so not quite as modern looking as the upper trims. But in terms of the materials, you can see the door panel has a soft touch injection molded plastic, which is kind of carried over onto the dash here, where you have this injection molded plastic with some faux stitching. You have a really nice parcel shelf here with a USB-C connector where you can easily put your phone here and charge your devices from the plug over there. The upper portion of the instrument panel, you can see this is not production spec. It looks like it's kind of like this smooth plastic. I suspect it'll be different on the final production car. This trim also comes with a heads-up display. I believe the Platinum comes standard with it. It may be optional on the Limited as part of a tech package, but I'm not entirely sure. In terms of the steering wheel, you can see this is a newer steering wheel, which actually I haven't seen in other Toyota products. It does have paddles on the wheels, so if you guys go for the Platinum grade, you'll get the standard paddle shifters for, in this model, it controls the 8-speed auto versus the 6-speed auto in the Hybrid Max. This also has the Toyota Safety Sense 3.0 as standard equipment on all models. You can see there's actually a little sensor bar here that looks as if it probably watches your face and tries to make sure you're paying attention and whatnot. The steering wheel, you can see, is manual tilt and telescoping and offers a good amount of adjustability and range, which is nice. Over here on the center stack, you can see there's a very traditional shifter for the 8-speed auto. I kind of like how Toyota is doing that versus some competitors going to that electronic shifter. You have a wireless phone charging pad over here, with a little bit more storage. You also have a full 360 camera, which you can see it will do a perimeter scan, although I think Toyota's system is a little more useless compared to some others that I've seen, where it allows you to kind of scroll around the vehicle. That's kind of more of a gimmick to me. It doesn't really do much. You can see this is their Toyota audio multimedia interface. It is the newest system that I've tested in other models. You can see it's got your different sources here to the left side of the screen. It has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It has built-in cloud connected services with GPS, of course, but most of you will probably just use your phone. It also has over-the-air updates. This system is very nice. It's one of the best in the industry. And I also like how it looks very well, nicely designed into the dashboard. Now you can see the Platinum grade is also the one that gives you heated and ventilated seats. That I believe is actually included on the Limited as well. We'll hop into the second row. I'll show you some of the differences there. You can see down here, there's your cup holder storage. There's some more padded areas here where your knees might hit the center console. This is a pretty wide center console area, so you can see a lot of different storage cubbies, which is nice. You have, it looks like 2 USB-C charging ports over here. And then you also have your drive mode selector over here. The vehicle, it looks like it offers a sport, an eco, and a normal mode as well, and a rock, dirt, and mud and sand mode, which again is going to be pretty nice for those of you who do want to do a little bit of light off-roading. Now, the car actually shut off earlier because it was trying to preserve the battery, but I forgot to show you guys, here's the key fob for the vehicle. This is a really early prototype. You can see it says Grand Highlander actually on the back of the key fob. It has all the usual buttons for lock, unlock, open up the trunk, and panic, and I believe it should have a remote start as well through the actual fob. This center console area you can see is nice and padded with some faux stitching. Open this up, you can see it reveals a pretty deep storage cubby actually. It's very, very deep, which is nice. No power outlets down there, but you have plenty of that found throughout the rest of the cabin. And then if you look over here, you can see most of the higher trims will also include that digital camera rearview mirror, which is perfect for those of you who constantly carry 6 or 7 people and all their stuff, and you have things that are packed up to the roof. So overall, the front seat area definitely feels a little bit more spacious versus the current short wheelbase Highlander. It also seems to give you a pretty good view of the road, but let's go ahead and hop into the back seat because Toyota promises that third row is now adult friendly. So let's go ahead and take a look at the second and the third row areas of the new Grand Highlander, because this is where Toyota was trying to address a big problem with the short wheelbase model. Let me get back here and shut the door. You can see most models, the upper trims will have the captain's chairs. However, Toyota also offers a bench seat for those of you who need 8-passenger seating where you can sit 3 across here. And now the third row also is capable of seating 3 across, where it wasn't on the Highlander, which only sat up to 7 people. Now you can see I don't have any official specs yet for the legroom. However, the current Highlander has around 38 inches. In the second row, you can see this seat actually does move forward and back. This is with the seat all the way up, and this is where I probably have it to drive. So in terms of legroom space here, it's certainly nice for somebody my height at 5'7". I can get back here and cross my legs, although it doesn't quite feel as spacious as some of the most spacious in the segment, like the Hyundai Palisade, the Kia Telluride, even the new Honda Pilot also offers a ton of room. In terms of features back here, you can see this Platinum also has these manual rear window sunshades, which apparently these are actually standard on the XLE trim. So even if you guys go for the base model, you'll have those rear manual sunshades. Material quality back here is slightly padded, which I expected this area here to be slightly downplayed in terms of materials, so it's nice that Toyota's kind of carrying it through on the Platinum grade. There are a ton of features back here. You can see there are 2 USB-C charging ports. There's an actual 12-volt power outlet. And then you can see the Platinum grade also has heated and ventilated second row seats. So there was a time where only the Hyundai Palisade and Kia Telluride offer that, but it's been kind of expanded onto other trims. Mazda's new CX-90 also has that same feature on upper trims. You also have your own set of rear seat climate controls, which is nice. And then you can see here there's 2 armrests that folds down to kind of give you comfort, and there's also cup holders over here. No actual center console area. I guess Toyota wanted to leave this area kind of more of a pass-through to let you in. And then you can see the Platinum grade also includes a panoramic roof that goes into the second row, however not into the third row. There are also rear seat air vents that you'll find on the ceiling in addition to LED map lighting. Now let me go ahead and hop into the third row, which you can access by pulling on this upper lever right here, which you can see Toyota claims that this is now adult friendly. The regular Highlander only had around 28 inches of legroom, so I don't have official figures yet for the Grand Highlander, but this car has a 6-inch longer overall length and a 4-inch stretch in the wheelbase. You can see, for somebody my height, 5'7", you can see my head actually comes pretty close to the roof, although it doesn't feel claustrophobic back here. This is with the seat all the way back, so I can still obviously get back here and my knees aren't touching up against the seat, which is nice. You can actually move the seat forward to give you a little bit more space. The vehicle is now, again, wide enough to accommodate 3 people, so now there's a middle seat here, although it's probably going to be somebody relatively skinny because it's a little bit on the narrower side. But surprisingly, in terms of features, there are LED map lighting back here. You have rear seat air vents, and then you can see there are actually 2 USB-C charge ports on each of the pillars over here. So basically every outboard passenger gets their own USB. There's also a not padded area here, which I suspect this might be adjusted for the production version, but you also have cup holders back here. So yes, overall, if you guys are looking to for a crossover that can actually seat adults, average size adults, the Grand Highlander can definitely do that, and it's definitely something that Toyota need to do. So this is going to be a huge selling feature for those of you who walked away from a Highlander because you thought the third row was too small. So before we wrap up this video, let me first show you guys some visual differences for the gas Platinum version. You can see this white exterior color. It looks really good with the kind of styling details that you get with the Platinum version. The one big thing I'm noticing compared to the gray one that I showed you earlier is the grille insert. You can see it's kind of got this gloss black insert versus the gunmetal gray. Toyota said that gray finish was exclusive to the Hybrid Max. You also kind of have that little chrome mustache that goes along the border of the grille with these full LED headlights along with the LED fog lights. But let me know in the comment section below if you guys like the design of this car. I particularly like the look of it in white. It certainly has a classy, elegant look to it. And then compared to the hybrid model that I showed you earlier, this version here, you can see has kind of like a chrome clad 20-inch wheel with the same size 255 width tire. I would like to see what the 18-inch wheel looks like on the XLE, but Toyota sadly doesn't have any base versions here for us to see. They only have the 2 Platinum grades. But let's go ahead and talk about the Grand Highlander for those of you who are actually interested in purchasing this vehicle. Well, now obviously this is just a first look. Toyota doesn't have any final pricing figures just yet, but we can kind of speculate here because the current Highlander starts at around $36,000, 40 grand if you guys want the hybrid. I'm going to suspect this car will probably start at just under $40,000 for the base version. However, fully loaded models, I wouldn't be surprised if they started to approach mid 50s to maybe even low or just under $60,000 for the fully loaded version. We won't know, of course, until Toyota gives us those final details, but the company did say that if you're interested in purchasing one, they are heading to your local Toyota showrooms by later this summer, which we also should be driving this car sometime in May. So stay tuned for our full driving review on that. But I hope you guys have enjoyed my very detailed overlook on this very important new addition, the 2024 Toyota Grand Highlander. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Redline_reviews. Like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.